Mary Elizabeth Carnegie was born in Baltimore, Maryland on April the 19th, 1916. Miss Lancaster's parents were Adeline Beecher Swan, a homemaker, and John Oliver Lancaster, a musician. Mary Elizabeth was the youngest of four siblings. In 1918, at the age of 2, Mary Elizabeth's parents, Adeline and John Lancaster, divorced. Adeline found raising her babies alone a challenge. She wanted to do what she thought would be best for her youngest daughter, Mary. She sent young Mary to live with her sister Rosa and her husband, Thomas Robinson, in Washington, D.C. The Robinsons had no children of their own and adopted Mary. Adeline lived only 40 miles away in Baltimore, so Mary had the benefit of being raised by two mothers. Rosa was loving but firm when it came to Mary's early education. She was a very gifted student and graduated Dunbar High School in Washington, D.C., a year advanced at the age of 16 in 1932. Opportunities were very limited for Black women in the first half of the 20th century in the United States. Choices were mostly teaching and nursing in segregated schools and hospitals. After graduating from Dunbar High School, Mary was given permission by her Aunt Rosa to move to New York City. While visiting her cousins, Mary worried about her future and what she would do to support herself. She did not have money for teachers' college, so her cousin suggested nursing school. Mary had excelled in math and science, so nursing school seemed like the right choice for her. They decided on the Lincoln School for Nurses. One of Mary's cousins was an alumni. There was a problem. You had to be 18 to be accepted into the nursing school. Miss Carnegie was still just 16, so she lied about her age. She passed her entrance examination and started her nursing career at 16 in 1934. The Lincoln School for Nurses was the first of its type in the United States. The school was opened to train Black women to become nurses during a time this type of education was not available to Black Americans. The nursing students were given a stipend and no tuition was required. Miss Carnegie graduated from the Lincoln School for Nurses in 1937. After passing her New York State Nursing Board examinations, she was hired by the Nurses School affiliate, Lincoln Hospital. Carnegie took her civil service examinations in 1940. While applying for civil service government nursing positions, she became aware of the systemic discrimination in her chosen field. There were only 2 government hospitals that hired Black nurses: the Veterans Hospital in Tuskegee, Alabama, and the Freedmen's Hospital in Washington, D.C. Mary did a year's probationary period as a registered nurse and volunteered as a rural public health nurse in Tuskegee. Miss Carnegie was then transferred to Freedmen's Hospital in Washington, D.C. In D.C., Mary started taking courses at Howard University. Good fortune would bring her a full scholarship at West Virginia State University. Mary worked there as a school nurse and graduated with a degree in sociology in 1942. The Medical College of Virginia, or MCV, was a forerunner of Virginia Commonwealth University. In 1902, the Virginia Congress established laws that forbade Blacks and whites from studying together. In 1920, the Medical College of Virginia opened a 176-bed hospital, St. Philip's Hospital. St. Philip's Hospital treated the African American community of Richmond, Virginia. To staff the hospital with nurses, St. Philip's Nursing School was founded. St. Philip's Nursing School was a segregated nursing school for Blacks. The school provided 3- and 4-year diplomas in nursing training. In 1942, Mary Carnegie accepted a position as an obstetrics nurse, teaching nurse. Teaching at St. Philip's was a turning point in her nursing career. There she found racial exclusion and segregation prevalent in every aspect of the black nurses' education at St. Philip's. They were supposed to be addressed by their titles, then proper last names. This is how the white nurses were addressed. But the black nurses were called nurses and then their last name. Mary found this particularly offensive. The black nurses could not study coursework at MCV. There was never enough training supplies or equipment to give really good educational instruction to the black nurses studying at the school. Mary Elizabeth Lancaster realized that there had to be a better educational advantage for black nursing students. The Black American nursing students' educational training must be of the same quality and standards as the white students. It became Mary's mission for the rest of her professional career to lift up black nursing education into excellence in training and professional inclusion. In 1943, Miss Lancaster accepted a position at Hampton Institute in Hampton, Virginia. Hampton University is a private, historically black research university in Hampton, Virginia. It was founded in 1868 by black and white leaders of the American Missionary Association. Hampton Institute educated freedmen after the Civil War. Miss Lancaster went to Hampton to begin her administrative work. She accepted the director of the Division of Nurse Education and associate dean's position. When Lancaster arrived at Hampton, there was no dean of nursing education. She was asked to put together a baccalaureate degree program for nurses. She worked with Hampton Institute's Dixon Hospital School of Nursing to accomplish this historical event. The Dixon Hospital School of Nursing was a division of Hampton Institute's Dixon Hospital. Dixon Nursing School 1913 through 1956 was one of the earliest nursing schools for blacks in the United States. In 1943, at Hampton Institute, Miss Mary Elizabeth Lancaster inaugurated the first baccalaureate program for nurses in Virginia State. When it was time to hire a dean for the program, you would think Miss Lancaster would be first on the list. Hampton required that their deans have masters in their fields. Mary had not mastered in nursing education and was not offered the position. To make sure this would not be a problem in her professional future, Mary Lancaster asked for and received a fellowship from the General Education Board of the Rockefeller Foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation General Education Board's selecting Mary Lancaster was a big achievement for her. Nurses, the GEB felt, would make a significant impact in the field by becoming national innovative leaders were selected. Mary Elizabeth Lancaster won 2 General Education Board fellowships. Her first GEB fellowship sent her to Toronto to study at the University of Toronto in 1945. The university awarded her a certificate in administration in schools of nursing. The certificate was considered equivalent to a master's degree in nursing education. While in Toronto, Mary met and married Eric Carnegie, a friend's brother from her Lincoln nursing school days. Their marriage lasted 10 years. Mr. Carnegie refused to move to the United States, and Mary refused to stay permanently in Canada. They divorced in 1954. Mrs. Carnegie's second GEB fellowship was awarded in 1952. She earned a master's degree in educational administration from Syracuse University. Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University is a public historically black land-grant university in Tallahassee, Florida. Founded in 1887, FAMU is the only public historically black university in Florida. It was first instituted to provide medical care to African Americans who during the segregation period was not permitted to receive care at white-only hospitals. The hospital was originally designated as a sanitarium and had 19 beds and was created to allow Florida A&M to establish a nursing program. The Rockefeller Foundation General Board of Education agreed to build Florida A&M a new hospital replacing the old substandard hospital in 1950. The GBE insisted that Mary Elizabeth Lancaster Carnegie be named Dean of Nursing. FAMU accepted the University of Toronto certificate as a master's degree in nursing administration and School of Nursing Education. Mrs. Carnegie was the first Dean of Nursing Education at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical College, instituting the only nursing education baccalaureate program in the state. Carnegie was dean for 10 years and left her post in 1953. Under Elizabeth's leadership, Florida Agriculture and Mechanical School of Nursing was the first in Florida to be accredited by the National League for Nursing. The National League for Nursing is the oldest nursing education membership association in the United States. The National Association for Colored Graduate Nurses was founded in 1908. The National Association for Colored Graduate Nurses was established to bring about the end of racial discrimination in employment opportunities. Black nurses were subject to token integration and out-and-out segregation in state and federal nursing jobs, and the professional nursing association organizations that could help them find work. In 1896, the American Nurses Association, then known as the Nurses Associate Alumni, was established to promote and improve the standard of the nursing field. In 1916, 16 southern states and the District of Columbia chapter members in the American Nurses Association decided they were not going to allow black nurses in their American Nurses Association chapters. At Florida A&M, Carnegie in 1945 joined the Florida chapter of the Association of Colored Graduate Nurses. In 1948, Mrs. Carnegie was elected Florida ACGN chapter president. The president of Florida's ACGN chapter was given a courtesy membership to the segregated Florida State Nurses Association. It was just a token gesture that brought no benefits with it to FSNA. The Florida Association of Colored Graduate Nurses was allowed to attend only one meeting of the Florida State Association. The president of ACGN could not speak at the meeting and had no voting rights as a member of FSNA. Mary Carnegie would not stand for these segregation-style policies. At Mary's very first meeting, she complained on behalf of the Florida ACGN about the token membership and lack of participation. She told them the only thing they were allowed to do was to pay their dues. It amounted to taxation without representation. They were impressed with what she had to say. Her chapter was voted in with all membership rights that evening. She was the first American nurse to become a full-fledged member of FSNA. At the association's next convention, Carnegie was elected to the FSNA Board of Directors by majority of votes. The American Journal of Nursing Company, established like Lippincott Publishing Company in 1900, is the oldest and most respected nursing journal in the world. The American Journal of Nursing is peer-reviewed and always fact-based in its publishing. In 1953, Mary Carnegie Lancaster went to work for the journal. Mrs. Carnegie became the first black associate editor for the American Journal of Nursing magazine and associate editor and later senior editor for Outlook magazine. After receiving a doctorate of public administration from New York University in 1972, Dr. Carnegie was named the first editor of their research magazine, Nursing Research. Carnegie retired from the American Journal of Nursing in 1978 after 25 years. While working for the journal, Mary edited or contributed chapters to 23 books, published 72 articles, including editorials in 22 national and international journal affiliates. The fight for Black American civil rights by the 1960s was finally starting to receive national and international notice. Dr. Carnegie needed to make aware of the contributions of Black nurses throughout American history. She shared her idea about the history of Black nursing with her publishers, Lippincott Publishing Company. The idea of the book was rejected as not marketable enough. In 1978, after she retired from the American Journal of Nursing, she decided to try marketing her idea for the book again. She had a plan. Dr. Carnegie produced a membership list with over 100 Black nursing schools graduates associations. This showed to Lippincott Publishing that there was a market for a book. Dr. Carnegie was so determined to get her history book published, she invested $5,000 of her own money to help subsidize the cost of publishing. The Path We Tread, Blacks in Nursing, 1854 through 1984, was published in 1986. The book has been published 3 times. Its 3rd edition is retitled The Path We Tread, Blacks in Nursing Worldwide, 1854 through 1994. The Path We Tread is now required reading in American nursing schools. Dr. Carnegie stated her most cherished honor for The Path We Tread came as a legislative resolution made May 22, 1986 by the New York State Senate. It read, "Resolved that this legislative body pause in its deliberation to honor Mary Elizabeth Carnegie for her contributions to the field of nursing as a nurse practitioner, educator, and author, and be further resolved that this legislative body congratulate Miss Mary Elizabeth Carnegie on her new book, The Path We Tread, Blacks in Nursing." Dr. Carnegie spoke of her life in this quote, "If I have done anything by taking a stand for racial equality in the nursing profession and making sure that Black nurses are in the literature, having been left out for so long, I feel that I have fulfilled my purpose for having been in this world." Dr. Mary Elizabeth Lancaster Carnegie received 8 honorary doctorates. Dr. Carnegie further was recognized and inducted into the American Nurses Association Hall of Fame, the Florida Nurses Association Hall of Fame, the West Virginia State Hall of Fame, and the Columbia University Hall of Fame in 2000. The Virginia Nurses Association recognized Carnegie as one of 51 pioneer nurses in Virginia. Hampton University established the Mary Elizabeth Carnegie Archives in 1977. This archive was the first in the country designated as a repository for historical documents on minority nurses, particularly African Americans. Dr. Mary Elizabeth Carnegie, Doctor of Public Administration, registered nurse, and Fellows of the American Academy of Nursing, passed away in February 2008.